Staying in a toxic relationship can slowly, almost invisibly, silence your intuition to the point where you might feel like you've lost touch with that inner voice altogether. At first, when the relationship is new, your intuition might be telling you that something isn't quite right. Maybe there is a red flag or a gut feeling that keeps tugging at you. But over time, the constant emotional manipulation, the gaslighting, and the emotional roller coaster of the highs and lows wear you down. The more you ignore that feeling, the quieter it gets until it's almost completely drowned out by the noise of the relationship. What happens is this: your intuition is that inner compass, that instinctive knowing that tells you when something feels right or wrong. In a toxic relationship, that inner voice starts to get ignored because it's constantly being questioned or invalidated. A partner who manipulates, gaslights, or constantly disrespects your feelings will gradually teach you to question yourself. It might tell you that you're overreacting, or that you are imagining things, or that you are too sensitive. When this happens repeatedly, you start second guessing your own thoughts and emotions. The more you doubt yourself, the less you listen to that quiet inner guidance. There is a deep psychological toll that comes with this kind of self-doubt. When you're constantly questioning your reality, your intuition becomes harder to hear. And the more you silence it to keep the peace, the more disconnected you become from your true self. You begin to feel unsure of your own instincts. You know, and instead of listening to your gut, you look for external validation, sometimes in unhealthy ways. You might start leaning on your partner for answers, for approval, for reassurance, because you've been conditioned to believe that your own judgment can be trusted. Slowly, you lose the ability to make decisions for yourself. In toxic relationships, your intuition becomes buried under layers of emotional trauma, manipulation, and fear. The fear of conflict, fear of being judged, or fear of losing the person you're with can make you suppress what you know is true deep down. You might start telling yourself things like, maybe it's not that bad, or I'm probably just overthinking it. These are the ways you begin to rationalize behavior that doesn't sit well with your soul. You start to ignore what your body is telling you, what your gut is telling you. You are no longer trusting yourself. You are trusting the person who has slowly worn down your sense of self. The more you stay in the relationship, the more you emotional callus around your intuition. The gaslighting, the invalidation, and the emotional neglect force you to turn down the volume of that inner voice because you're afraid of the discomfort it brings. You're afraid to face the reality of what's happening, or you've convinced yourself that it's your fault. Over time, it feels easier to ignore your inner knowing rather than confronting the truth. What the truth is, staying in a toxic relationship is killing your intuition because it's training you to prioritize the needs, desires, and validation of someone else over your own. It teaches you that your needs don't matter, that your instincts aren't reliable, and that your truth is something to be dismissed or ignored. And when your intuition is silenced, you lose the ability to protect yourself, to recognize when things aren't right, and to make choices that align with your well being. Here's what happens next. Over time, you may start feeling completely disconnected from yourself. You're going through the motions of the relationship, but it feels like you are living someone else's life, not your own. You might start to feel numb, like you're watching your life happen from the outside. You can't figure out who you really are anymore. Without your intuition guiding you, it becomes harder to know what makes you happy, what you want, and what you need. Your relationship becomes a prison, not because it's physically confining, but because it has imprisoned your sense of self. Living a toxic relationship doesn't just mean leaving the person, it means starting to reconnect with yourself. It's about reawakening that inner voice that's been silenced for so long. It's about listening to your gut again, rebuilding trust in your instincts, and taking steps to care for the most important relationship you'll ever have. And that's one with yourself. It might feel scary at first, and it might feel like you're stepping into the unknown. But when you start trusting your intuition again, you rediscover the strength and clarity that has always been inside of you. And once you listen to that inner voice, it becomes easier to make decisions that are aligned with your true self, leading you to healthier, more fulfilling relationships and a deeper connection with who you really are. I hope this helps someone today. Thank you.